So we all move in different directions at different times, and that's fine. And people have disagreements, and I think criticize Trump. Go at it. I certainly have. You know, his lapse into generalities, the tone, the going after Cruz. I've been all over these issues. And I think there is an absolute need for that. But the idea that you want to basically telegraph to all his supporters that you're a bunch of dumb, stupid yahoos for being for this guy, to me, that is a disaster for the conservative movement. A disaster. We need to grow it. And if you have good advice to give Trump or Cruz, then give the advice. Or just come out and be for Rubio. But the idea they can kick people out of the movement? Really? Craig Shirley, the author of so many great biographies, Reagan historian, his book Last Act, big bestseller, Reagan bestseller. We love Craig. He's going to analyze the situation for us. We've opened our show to Lowry and Bozell and a number of others, and so far no takers. They're getting to be like Jeb Bush. Won't come on the show. No takers so far. And we think we'll try to sponsor a debate between Cruz and Trump on the issues that we care about. Immigration, foreign policy, social conservatism, where Trump does not rank well in the new CNN poll. He does not do well on social conservatism. But we'll sponsor a debate, and it'll be an hour debate, 2-hour debate, just Trump and Cruz. That's it. I think that'd be fabulous. We've offered that before, and we're offering it again. Craig joins us now. Craig, great to have you on. Look, we've already devoted too much time to this, but a lot of people calling in and saying they're canceling their subscriptions to National Review. Others saying they never were for Trump. But this makes one guy just they said he didn't want to go on the air, but he said, I've never was for Trump, and now I'm coming around because what I'm hearing about what they're saying about him. What do you make of all this? Will this have turned out to be a mistake?
I'm here to represent dumb, stupid yahoos. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Speaking as a country boy that you are, go ahead.
I find the whole thing fascinating. I think that tactically they made a mistake, though. If they wanted to have bigger impact, instead of just all piling on at once, they would have done it one at a time and built kind of a momentum. I look at that kind of as a campaign manager, and it might have served their purposes better if that each day there was a new front opened against Trump's candidacy, and then over the long haul they may have had a bigger impact. Because now the debate is just about the efficacy of the magazine, should they have done it. Now they're pulled out of the debate, and the name calling instead of maybe some legitimate complaints or concerns or issues against Donald Trump.
Well, Phyllis Schlafly, who is considered the matriarch of the conservative movement, and Pat Buchanan, who has been through the trenches with Reagan, Nixon, and as a young man, of course, speechwriter in the thick of things after 64 and Goldwater. He came out and said, look, these issues, without him raising them, it's not clear that they ever would have gotten an airing. And it's not that Trump is perfect, same thing that Phyllis said, but man, we got to bring these people into the movement. And I think that caller said his folks over at in the facility where he works, African Americans, they're all listening to Trump now.
I remember as a child, my parents having boxes of the book Conscience of a Conservative and A Choice Not an Echo that they gave out to all their friends. Phyllis' voice is so relevant then, is still relevant. And I think that she's got an important point, is that the National Review is but one voice, not the voice of conservatism. And that reading people out of the movement is never a good idea. Even people who are recent converts or still on an ideological journey, moving from the left to the right. If you look at this logically, if Trump was just a true charlatan, wouldn't his path to the nomination be easier in the Democratic Party than the Republican Party?
That's actually not a bad point.
Yeah,
never thought of it that way.
Yeah, but therefore maybe it's not just about power. Maybe it is because he truly wants to make America great again. Maybe it is because he's so dismayed about the direction of the country over immigration, trade, the budget deficit, all the other panoply of the issues we've discussed.
Well, on the point of blue collar workers, disaffected Democrats, African Americans, other minorities who are just coming along to this conclusion that it's not working. It's not working in America.
Right.
They're looking for a champion. They're looking for someone to fight for them. And I think a lot of them have looked to Trump because of that idea that he doesn't seem to owe people. I know some people have given, small donations to his campaign, and some of his plane trips have been funded by his campaign, but compared to the others, I mean, he just doesn't seem to owe people. And we're talking to Craig Shirley. Craig, if you can, use your historian's hat here and harken back to other efforts to circumscribe the movement. I mean, we saw it in 1976. We saw it through much of the 70s. Now, people will be like, oh, Laura's saying Trump's Reagan. No, I'm saying there are historical parallels between this moment in time and when, in the 1970s, and also we could say in the 1960s, there were efforts to kick people out of the conservative movement, period. That's what I'm saying. And there was an effort back then to say, no, this Reagan guy is a problem. He's a former Democrat, liberal Democrat, by the way. He was pro-choice. He had all these Democrat pals, and we can't trust him. That was the same thing said about Reagan. Does not mean that Donald Trump is Reagan, but they did say similar, fairly negative things about Reagan.
This fight is the continuation of a fight that goes back to 1952 of Robert Taft and Dwight Eisenhower, where at the Chicago Convention they literally kicked people out of the party, and I mean delegates out of the party, because Taft went into Chicago hundreds of delegates ahead of Eisenhower's for the nomination. Eisenhower emerged with the nomination because they literally kicked people out of the Texas and Alabama and other delegations to make room for Eisenhower delegates. So it's not something that is a recent phenomenon. It's been going on in the party for many years. So we've always had this debate, whether it was Rockefeller and Goldwater, whether it was Reagan and Bush or Reagan and Ford. This is a continuation of the debate, and always it's about the allocation of power and where it belongs. Does it belong at the state or does it belong with the individual? Is it about, as Reagan said, maximum freedom consistent with law and order, or is it about something else?
How important, though, as many of the symposia contributors have alleged, how important is it for him to be, for our nominee to be, a ideologically pure, or at least semi-consistent, or have a long track record in the conservative movement that Eric Erickson said is necessary?
I don't know if a track record is so much important. As long as the signs are there that somebody is going through a makeover or a change or a realization or whatever. We've had many, many people who have come to conservatism from liberalism. You can name, dozens of them, hundreds of them, politicians, writers, elected officials. It's interesting is that very few people, if anybody, goes from the right to the left, but a lot of people go from the left to the right. Charles Krauthammer, which he's still a neocon, but he started out as a speechwriter for Walter Mondale and wrote some atrocious things about Reagan for the Washington Post in the 1980s. He's gone through an ideological journey, and so we can only hope that Donald Trump is doing likewise, and that he's going to see that the intellectual force behind conservatism and what it means to the country.
Craig Shirley, always a sober analysis of the situation. Craig, can you send one of your strong boys over to my house for shoveling later? Do you mind?
You bet. Yeah, sure. They need how much you're paying?
What? I do want to keep labor costs up. I want to help raise the hourly wages. So
what is the minimum wage in D.C.? $100 an hour
exactly.
or something?
I'll give them plenty of hot chocolate and laced with booze. Okay, is that good enough?
The Laura Ingraham Show.